I don't necessarily disagree with it as a premise, as with your premise as a whole.
Mhm.
There are bad people in every culture and every religion. You can't judge a whole because of its parts. But I do think there are some religions and belief systems that a lot of people adhere to that as a whole are bad. And so if you can do things in the name of that religion and have them be terrible, then I think that as a whole, that's pretty terrible. You know what I mean?
Like, what religions are you like referring to?
Well, I think the easiest one to go with is Islam because of the lifestyle of Muhammad and the hundreds of passages in the Quran that call for either the conversion of all non-Muslims or the elimination of all Muslims.
Hmm.
I think that if that like there are abrogations to the Quran that because Muhammad changed his lifestyle later on in his life, he essentially said that you can either live at peace with everyone and that be fine and you're a good Muslim, or you can be attempting to kill all non-Muslims who refuse to convert, and either way you're still being a good Muslim. So it's hard to say that you can't judge a whole because of its parts if the system as a whole or the belief as a whole includes hateful, horrible concepts that if you adhere to them, then you're a good participant of that religion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Um, I totally agree with you. Like, that does make sense that because they say it in their culture. But another thing that I was also referring to is how like all white people get put into the same category, or all
Right.
black
There.
people get put into the same category. And
Yeah.
there are some Muslims that, yeah, they do get judged because of the ones that do things that are bad.
Right.
And I do not agree with that. I think that if you're a person at yourself, then you need to be judged on your actions, not what other people are taking yours and making it into.
Mm-hmm.
So, with everything that's going on now, we can use Donald Trump as an example of him putting all Hispanics into one category, saying all we get are the rapists and the murderers. And I just don't think that's fair. So, that's what I was mainly going for in my.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I get that. I agree with that. So, what do you think then about, say, people who have, you can call it a phobia? I don't want to say a hatred for Muslims because hatred of any entire group as a whole because of their belief system is just kind of ludicrous. I think because you're not differentiating at all between the types of people within groups. Like if you hate all Hispanics, for example, is worse.
Mm.
But so if I don't want to harp on the Muslim thing too much, maybe I'll find a better example. But if your religion or your group supports those kind of things, then what do you think about the people who are afraid of them or who want to stay away from them, I guess? For example, if I decide that I don't really want to interact with Muslims because of those passages in the Quran, am I wrong? Am I racist,
I
hateful,
think,
phobic, or is it
no, I think
fair
you have a
because of
right
it?
to. I think you have a right to like not want to be around certain people. That's your like personal issue. But do I think you should be able to go out and protest against them and say, "Oh, you guys are terrible." Like, do I think you should be able to do that? No.
Okay.
But if you're going and you have your own thing and you're keeping to yourself, you're not personally hurting anybody, you're not hurting anybody's like emotional standpoint, I think that's completely up to you. Do I stand and hang around people that I don't like? No. But I'm also not going to go and judge them and be like, you're bad for believing in that, because that's how they're raised. You can't judge someone because of the way they're thinking. Like, you can, but it's just not, to me, morally right, because you grow up and I'm assuming you grow up and you think everybody's equal, you do
Mm-hmm.
this, you see that. That's the way you're raised. That's the way you see things. So if you grow up a certain way thinking constantly that this is what it is, this is what it is, you can't really get mad at someone for that.
Okay, so then I'll follow up question on that. So, do you think the people who are protesting Trump's election and his supporters are in the wrong right now?
To an extent, yes, because I don't think, and this is with any protest, I don't think it should have an excuse to go and destroy things or
Oh
go
yeah,
and do things
absolutely.
like that. I don't agree with that at all. Um, do I see why people are upset because of the comments he has made? 100%. But there's also a thing called peaceful protest, and that's what I believe in 100%. I don't think you should be able to go and destroy things or go and say the hurtful things that people are saying. Because Donald Trump, yes, he has said very racist and sexist things, but he's still a person. And to me, like,
Right.
that's the way he was raised, and I think he should be respected for that. He's our president now. There's nothing really we can do about it except like peaceful protest again. And that goes hand in hand with how everybody's throwing the Black Lives Matter protest under the bus. Is I feel like the Black Lives Matter has so much potential. Like, if we could really like get people to understand that like it's not saying white people don't matter, I think that could like be very good. But then again, like in my thing, everybody can turn something evil. There's always going to be those couple of people that do bad things that make the whole organization look bad.
Right. They do things in the name of, but for alternative reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I agree with what you're saying. I like I like comment as a whole, the bad people in every culture, but can't judge a whole because of its parts. I disagree to a point because I think there are some generally bad religions, and I don't know if I can say cultures because that's super broad, but I don't think we disagree on our general premises actually though. I don't agree with you with the Black Lives Matter thing though. I don't know if you want to go anywhere with that or not, but
So what is your point on it?
well, I think that whenever you single out a race as a whole or any particular group, that it's showing favoritism, which by definition is racist. People tend to think that you're only being racist if you're picking on or attacking a group of people based on their race, but it's actually if you it can include favoritism as well. Like if I'm a college professor and I only give A's to my white students, then that's showing favoritism and racism because it means that I'm not giving that same treatment to other races, right? So if I, as a college professor, I'm only giving A's to white students, that means that my Hispanic students, Asian students, Black students, etc., are not capable of getting the same treatment. So with the BLM thing, I think that whenever you single them out, if you have an issue with police brutality and you think that police brutality is an issue in our society that needs to be handled, then it needs to be handled across the board. And I think especially if you look at the actual numbers, and I know they're differentiated and there's issues with them to a point because of the population differences and percentages. But if you say that cops are killing people unnecessarily, then that needs to be something that's protested regardless of race. And
I agree.
So for Black Lives Matter to only be protesting the Black lives that are lost, I think is equivalent to a college professor only giving out A's to white students. It's essentially saying that you guys matter, but not as much as we do, or we matter slightly more than you do, or we feel like you guys don't think we matter as much as you do, so we need to overcompensate for that and matter more than you to kind of balance the scale. And I think like I've been to a couple BLM protests just to kind of see what they're about and see what they're like, because I don't like the way that they're perpetuated on media. We tend to only see the worst of things.
Yeah.
We tend to see only the killings by officers that are probably going to be deemed unnecessary. We only see the people at the protests acting racist instead of seeing the peaceful movements and the coming together of communities that they have as well.
And I think that's my point is like the people who originally started the BLM movement, they wanted peaceful protests. They just wanted to get a point across, and then so many other people took it to a level that it didn't need to get to.
Yeah, I live out here in North Carolina, and what they did in Charlotte in the name of that movement was just
no. And I have family in North Carolina, in Charlotte actually. So that was very like, ooh.
Yeah.
And the same thing, I'm actually in Dallas now when that guy was killing all those cops saying, oh, it's because Black Lives Matter. See, and that goes along with it. It's anybody can take something and make it evil.
Right.
And I do feel bad for the original people who started the movement because they didn't want it to come across as other lives don't matter. They just wanted to raise awareness saying, hey, like, we do need to focus on this.
Yeah, I can't hear you anymore.
Hello?
I don't know if anybody can still hear me or not.
Hello?
I don't know if I agree with the fact that police brutality as a whole is